Hey, I thought I'd talk a bit about the Dynasty Warriors 9 second season pass. I've been getting comments every now and then asking if I would continue to play the game. Dynasty Warriors 9 to me is very much like, kind of like how I feel about closers. It's very similar to how like Destiny and Diablo and like DFO players feel when they've cleared all the relevant content and they're waiting for the next update. That is very much how I feel about Dynasty Warriors 9 right now. However, this morning, a bunch of information dropped about the second season pass. Now, the first thing is there's going to be new hypothetical scenarios for some of the characters. Now, I think these are actually pretty interesting choices because I always thought it was odd that they decloned Zhu Shu because his story mode is literally like less than an hour. Like, if you go as slow as possible, it takes like maybe an hour to finish. Like, I'm talking like fighting every enemy, like not using the grappling hook and not skipping the cutscenes. It's barely an hour long. Yet they decloned him, which I thought was kind of a weird decision because, like, yes, he is popular, but there's barely any content in the game to use him on. So he's one of the ones that's getting decloned, or rather that's getting a new hypothetical scenario. The two others are staff clones, so I think that's going to be kind of weird. It's going to kind of have the same issue that the unique characters did, like the unique NPCs that they added. I didn't really care to play as them because they were even more clones and movesets I spent tons of time with, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. The second thing is this stupid stuff. This is all just fan service costumes for the female characters. I'm probably not going to be buying the season pass in bulk. I will most likely buy the weapons and then maybe the scenarios. I'm even kind of on the fence about that because in reality the scenarios are pretty much just a bunch of cutscenes of them standing around and then fights at the same castles we fought in like 1,000 times at this point if you're still playing the game to this day. So I will probably end up getting the weapons. So the weapons seem to be like, they have some brand new weapons, and then they have some obvious declones. Like Zhang Fei is an obvious declone, so is Zhou Tai, Sima Shi is as well, and Yue Jin. And then we have the Twin Flame Swords and the Moon Spade. I have a feeling that these are going to be given to Lu Jun or Zhu Ran. Those are probably the most likely outcomes. But we're not sure who the Moon Spade is going to go to. I think this is a pretty good step in the right direction. They basically had an interview a couple weeks ago and people were asking them about new moves. I think that is one of the biggest problems with this game right now is a lot of the movesets, they're basically just templates. Like, once you actually understand how the game mechanics work, how the combo system works, and how the weapons work, like, you can pretty much do the same combo with almost every weapon. And obviously there are some exceptions, but for the most part, like, everything is pretty much the same. But we were talking about this in Squillow's Discord. It's like, in their defense, they can't really add new moves when there's so many characters still cloned. And it's like, if they did add new moves now, they would just have to remove them and change them again when the characters are decloned. Now, they're already talking about a third season pass, so I assume that will have another 6 weapons. That will reduce the cloning problem quite a bit. A lot of people constantly bring up Dynasty Warriors 8 XL and Empires as, you know, they had new moves for everybody in the second EX attacks, but they already had everyone unique at that point. I don't really think that they can really do anything like that with Dynasty Warriors 9. So my hope with these weapons is that they will actually have like some kind of unique gimmick or attacks, and it won't just be the same thing with a different skin, which is kind of what a lot of the weapons are. The last DLC weapon pack that they did kind of fixed that. Like, there were some actual unique moves with the claws and the sword and hook and the MA piercers, but some of them didn't work right. Like Zhu Shu's weapon was kind of odd. There were certain attacks on it that just didn't work properly. And then the MA piercers are actually probably the most unique one. However, the problem was that, you know, they focused on grabs, and grabs have never worked well in any Musou game, at least not Koei Musou games, at least not the mainline ones. Some of the characters in One Piece Musou had some decent grabs, but they also teched out of them really quickly. So I would like to see them kind of continue that design, but make it more practical and useful. Now, what's kind of interesting is that Zhou and Shimashi, they already have like unique weapon categories, so I assume what's going to happen is they're just going to like ditch that moveset completely. They're going to ditch the constipated grandpa moveset and the rapier moveset for him, and then maybe they'll just have completely new moves or something. The hook swords is kind of another interesting choice as well, because he already has like a lot of his old moves. He's just using the big rods for whatever reason. So, to answer people's questions, yes, I will be continuing to play the game, but it doesn't seem like the weapons are going to be coming for a while. I think most of the stuff that's coming first is all these dumb costumes, which I couldn't care less about, and it could at least give me like some cool costumes for the male characters, but it's all just blatant fan service. I don't really care for that stuff, so I will get the weapons for sure. The hypothetical stuff, it's a possibility. I might get it depending on how things go. And then that's pretty much it for this season pass. So this is supposed to go from November to January, so basically this month through January. So they're going to have to put all this stuff out within the next 2.5 months. So hopefully the weapons will come sooner than later. Now there's also some tidbits here. So we're supposed to be getting online rankings, which can't imagine I'll care about on the PC version. Like the challenge mode of Warriors Orochi 4 is already full of people with max scores. But the other stuff sounds pretty interesting. The growth system, they haven't really said anything about how that's going to work. I really hope that it's not just more raw stats. I think that is one of the biggest problems with Dynasty Warriors 9 as a whole right now, aside from the open world, is that the progression is really bad. You have the same moveset from level 1 to level 100. There's no progression at all. Now, they've already said, like I mentioned earlier in the video, that they're not going to be doing new moves, but it would be cool if they had like new properties. Like maybe you could have like a raw, attack speed buff or something like that to kind of reduce the necessity to have it on your gems. I don't know, other kind of cool property changing things would be really fun and would kind of prevent them from having things be so stale. But they haven't said anything about it yet. If it ends up just being more, plus 50 attack and stuff like that, that's not going to solve the problem at all. For what it's worth, they also mentioned some accessories here as well. Now, I thought the accessories in the ordeals, those were actually pretty fun. In the arena, I actually liked how those changed things up quite a bit. There were ones that reduced the charging time on the charge trigger attacks. There's one that made you dodge faster and things like that. I think those are the kind of things that they need to add, and I really hope that the accessories will, these new accessories will kind of fill that gap, because that's definitely another issue as well. I don't really think there's too many other ways they can actually incorporate more accessories that just have to do with the stats, because they already have all that stuff covered in the accessories that are currently in the game. Wallpapers and BGM, more music would be nice. I actually like the Dynasty Warriors 9 soundtrack. It's kind of hard to hear it because you hear like the same couple tracks over and over, because most of the battles are considered to be generic ones where you just kind of fight in the towns and take out the commander and stuff like that. Wallpapers is whatever, and then gems I'm kind of interested in. Obviously, I used the Witch Time mod liberally during my last major session with the game, like my last couple guides and stuff that I did for the game before I moved on to other projects. It would be cool if they actually incorporated that officially, because that is basically just like dummy data in the code that works, but it's not actually accessible outside of Cheat Engine for whatever reason. So I think it would be cool to see them add more unique properties to the gems as well. I actually like the gem system. I like how it does allow you to customize things. It's just that it's far too random, and you have like very little control over it. You can basically control like the element, and you get that one attribute that's always buffed with that respective element. But that's basically it. Everything else is completely random, and the lore gems made it both better and worse. You can actually have better stats and stuff with the lore gems, but there's so much crap in there. Like pretty much anything that makes the food spawn is basically pointless and just made the RNG even worse. I like them. If they are going to add more gems, I would like them to make it so that we have like more overall control about like what spawns and how we can customize our builds, because I did like how you didn't have to worry about weapon elements or weapon fusion or anything like that. If you got a good build with one character, you could easily just transfer it to another and have a pretty significant boost from level 1. However, that kind of amplified the progression issue that the game currently has, where there's really nothing to look forward to past a certain point, and you reach that point really quickly. Like, even before you finish the full campaign, like when you get all the way to Shu Chapter 13, like you've already got a pretty decent build, you probably have most of the good weapons in the game, and there's just like not a whole lot to really grind for at that point, especially since the moveset is pretty much static from level 1 to level 100. So that's basically what's going on. I will be playing the game more once these updates start to drop. They haven't really said anything about like in what order the season pass stuff is going to be added. I'm sure they're going to add the stupid costumes first, so I probably won't be playing it this month that much. I might put up some random videos or stuff, but aside from that, I'm definitely going to be waiting. I will be getting the weapons for sure. The Hypothetical Scenarios is kind of up in the air at this point. If they're charging like $20 for them, I'm not really sure if I care at this point, but we'll see what happens. The season pass doesn't really seem like it's worth buying in bulk. They're charging $45 for it in America. In Japan, I think it's like the equivalent of like $65 or something crazy like that. I'm sure just the weapons is probably only going to be like $15 or something like that. Probably no more than 20. I'd be down to pay for that. I hope that they'll have more unique moveset design with them, because that's definitely one of the biggest problems with Dynasty Warriors 9 right now, is a lot of the movesets are pretty much identical. They just have different animations. I would like them to get out of that kind of template-based design. So we'll see what happens there. They already are talking about a third season pass, so if they add another 6 weapons to that, then I assume that that will reduce the cloning problem quite a bit. Now, if you look at some of these characters, it seems like they decloned them based on like how much game time they have. Like Jotai is playable for a pretty decent amount of time. Sima Shi is. I think Yuejin is as well. If this weapon does go to Zhu Ran, he's pretty much one of the only characters you have to play in for the later part of the Wei campaign. So, or not Wei, but Wu campaign. That will definitely help to reduce the monotony quite a bit. I remember on my first playthrough, I was just trying to unlock everybody. This was before they added the patch where you unlock everybody just by playing like an hour or something. I remember getting really bored of playing as Zhu Ran because he was another bow staff clone, and I already had 2 of them at that point. So it seems like they're decloning people strategically, the characters that both people like and the ones that are actually playable for a significant period of time are the ones that they seem to be focusing on. I think that will definitely help to reduce the fatigue, because a lot of the monotony comes from having to play the same character with the same moveset, and then your only other options in that respective chapter are more characters that have like 2 or 3 clones. So I think this is a good idea overall. Hopefully the moveset quality will definitely match up with that as well. Anyway, that's it. I will catch you guys later. If I hear anything about when the DLC is going to drop, I mean like the actual like purposeful DLC, not these dumb costumes, I'll definitely let you guys know, and I'll be buying them as soon as possible as well. Thanks for watching. Peace.